The anime start with our absolute loser of a protagonist named Yuki Wakura complaining about having to clean up every morning at school. His so-called friends that look like characters we will probably never see again have a good laugh. This is because they can take it easy since Yuki is practically Mr. Clean and has unparalleled cleaning skills. Just then, all the girls arrive late to school as always, but the boys can't do anything about it since they are not granted powers like the girls are. Unlike boys, girls are able to gain powers simply by eating peaches. Yuki points out how useless his life is since all boys are playing life on hard mode from the second they are born. Our boy Yuki finds ways to make himself useful though, as one of his buddies asks him to fix a button on his suit like guys tend to do. Yuki pulls out his super manly sewing kit and fixes it up with lightning speed like a human sewing machine, amazing all his friends. However, the little nerd points out that his sewing skills don't help him get any ladies. Yuki's older sister taught him how to sew because boys are pretty worthless since they don't receive the benefits of the peaches. She taught him well, but she was pretty abusive about it as she would choke him straight into unconsciousness if he didn't do it right. Yuki's side character friend wonders about his sister, but he is told by the other little nerd that it's a sensitive topic. It's almost time for you to start looking for a career, but he begins to wonder if that's all there really is to life. Between having to work a dead-end job and all that sewing he does, he will be a riskless dweeb forever. Yuki snaps out of this depressive state of mind and assures himself that there is something more out there, a place where he can make a difference without having to sew a single thing. Just then, the area becomes really foggy and a strong gust of wind pushes him back. When the fog clears, Yuki realizes that it's his worst nightmare. He has appeared in a place called Mato. He begins to freak out and searches for his phone to bring out the Mato instruction manual. Mato refers to an alternate dimension accessible via gateways, also known as doors. These doors suddenly appeared throughout Japan. Damages and injuries sustained as a result of monsters known as Shuki entering their world, or civilians accidentally wandering in Mato, are referred to as Mato mishaps. This little history lesson is good and all, but what's really important is what he needs to do now. When a civilian finds themselves in Mato, they're supposed to stay wherever they are and wait for the Demon Defense Force to rescue them. The terrified Yuki plans to do just that, but one of these horrifying Shuki appears to attack him. Yuki runs for his life from the monsters that look like they're straight out of Bleach, but arrives at a dead end and several more Shuki appear. Yuki determines that he can't sew his way out of this one, so he has the bright idea to throw a rock at the creature. This shockingly accomplishes nothing and just gets it mad. Yuki then imagines what his body would look like after getting sliced up by this thing. He won't be able to sew himself back together, but he explains that he doesn't want his life to end this way. The demon isn't listening to his concerns at all as it's about to destroy him, but just then he is saved by a girl riding on a Shuki. This girl calls him unlucky for getting a text so fast and initiates a fight with all the other beasts. She slices a bunch of the low anime budget demons in half with her sword, but she sees that the Shuki she was riding just had its arms ripped off. She knew the dumb thing would be too weak, so she continues taking care of business on her own. Her name is Kyouka Uzen and she is the commander of the 7th Squadron and the Demon Defense Force. She tells Yuki to stay back, but he makes himself super useful by pointing out that things are getting worse by the second. Kyoka takes control of one of the Shuki by putting a chain around its neck and the two get out of there. They are chased soon after the Himari, Nei, and Shushu arrive to back up their commander. They report that there are no other survivors, so Nei checks their surroundings again. She finds that a horde of the low-effort monsters are approaching quickly, so Kyoka tells them to handle it while she takes the boy to safety. The girls instantly handle business as Himari does her best impression of Mega Man and transforms her hand into some kind of Gatling gun to put a bunch of holes in the demons. Shushu won't be outdone though and shows off her ability to grow into a giant like she's one of the Avengers. It becomes pretty apparent to Yuki that of all the girls that are able to get power from peaches, these girls are the cream of his crop. Yuki has only heard rumors about the Demon Defense Force, but seeing them in action now amazes him. The girls finish up the hollows from Bleach and we see that they found an unconscious boy. They assume that their commander made it back to the dorm already, so they decide to go and check if the last site has been cleared before heading home. The little boy wakes up, but instead of being grateful for them saving him, he just looks around for his sister. Elsewhere, we see that the commander hasn't made it back yet and she is busy reminding Yuki about the most important rule. When a civilian finds himself in a Mato mishap, they're supposed to keep their mouth shut. Just then, they must stop as they come across a girl that Yuki remembers seeing just before going through the gate. This girl is just about to learn an important lesson from gravity, but luckily she is saved by Kyoka. Kyoka's Shuki slave is way too slow, so they have to abandon it, and she begins fighting all the demons chasing them. Yuki bravely protects the girl, but he must be saved as well. Kyoka quickly raises a barrier and tells them not to wet themselves, but the demons are beginning to break through. Things are looking bad even for Kyoka, and she begins to think about how she got stuck with a lousy ability. A look into the past shows some girls gossiping about her. She is known for being strong, but her ability sucks, and they are certain she will never be Supreme Commander. Kyoka is determined to prove those dumb girls wrong and vows to one day rule over all the commanders. Time is running out and she thinks about doing something crazy. She has never tested her ability on a man before, so she has a serious decision to make. She tells Yuki that she needs something from him in order for them to escape, so of course the little dweeb is eager to do whatever it takes to survive. He doesn't get what he expected though, as Kyoka informs him that he's going to be her slave. The process seems like it might be a little risky however, as Shuka tells the little girl to get out of the way and close her eyes. Kyoka explains that if Yuki had enhanced strength it would have a shot at making it out of there alive. Yuki can't believe that she wants him to fight the demons, but Kyoka manhandles him and reminds him that he said he would do whatever it takes. She then explains that it's time for him to bow down to her. These words hit Yuki like a truck gun, and despite never even having touched the girl before, he reacts on instinct. Yuki holds her finger out to him, and for some strange reason his instincts tell him to lick it. The second his disgusting tongue touches her probably dirty finger, chains of energy surround him. Immense power bursts out of his body and Yuki transforms into a crazy-looking demon. He looks way more powerful now, and Kyoka is amazed to see that it actually worked. The other girls arrive and are shocked to see that their commander turned him into her slave. Yuki is insanely powerful as he slices right through a demon, and things have worked out way better than Kyoka could have imagined. Kyoka mounts him and commands him to show her what he's got. Yuki then starts ripping all the demons to shreds like a boss, flying through the air and slicing right through all of them like they don't even exist. Kyoka throws in some commands for good measure, and she is stunned by how fast he is. Kyoka reunites the little siblings, but everyone is startled when the demons start doing some reuniting of their own. The giant lump of demons becomes a huge demon, so Kyoka sends the others home so she can take care of business with Yuki. She commands him to crush the giant, so Yuki bursts right through the little rock it was carrying. He dodges all of its attacks and trims a bit off the top of the demon's body. The thing blows up in a huge way, leaving all the girls that apparently haven't left yet to wonder who in the world this guy is. Kyoka ends her ability and reverts Yuki back to his very average and plain self. Kyoka declines the other girl's offer to return home like a jerk because she needs to have a very important and secret conversation with her new toy. She reveals that he surprised her, as she never would have guessed that an average Joe like him had it in him to turn into such a beast. She wants to make his job as her slave a permanent arrangement, but that statement alone makes her boy speechless. Before any of that though, there's an important caveat to her ability. She wasn't kidding as she plants a kiss right on Yuki's face. She pretty unfairly calls him a pervert and explains that this is the price of her ability. Since she is the master, she must without exception compensate her slave with a reward. As if that weren't crazy enough, the reward must be one that equals the worker's slave does each time he carries out a task. Yuki's heart is pounding out of his chest and he can't believe that his reward was a kiss. Kyoka explains that he worked really hard out there and shockingly offers to give him another kiss. Yuki freaks out as she has given him plenty to dream about already and declines the offer. He does probably the most awkward thing anyone can do in this moment and accidentally hits her in the face. Kyoka sympathizes with him and explains that she wasn't expecting this situation either. When the Shuki were her slaves, they only wanted slices of pork as a reward. Yuki, on the other hand, is a disgusting pervert, and she reveals that in these moments, her body moves automatically. Regardless of how she feels about it, it's the price she must pay for her ability, so she plants another kiss on him. Afterwards, Yuki makes the dumbest looking face as he is still stunned to have just had his first kiss. Kyoka gets really serious as she explains that if even just one of the Shuki were to appear in the real world, there would be dozens of casualties. Her goal is to become Supreme Commander and exterminate the vile creatures for good. The current Supreme Commander is a loser though and far too lenient. With Yuki's help, she is sure that she can reach her goal, so she insists that he work for her. Yuki surprises absolutely no one when he reveals that he isn't good at stuff like sports or academics. All he is confident in is his ability to be a maid and keep a house sparkling clean. That isn't a problem for Kyoka though, as she is all for a dude that knows how to clean. Aside from that though, Yuki showed a lot of bravery when trying to save the girl, even though he was just being a meat shield. Kyoka thinks he isn't too bad for a guy, so Yuki finally finds some courage and declares that he wants to be a hero in Mato. Yuki only has a life of monotony and mediocrity waiting for him in the real world. In this world though, he can turn into a monster that looks like something from a cross between Pokemon and Bleach. For the first time ever he feels like he can avenge his sister's death. Most importantly though, the little perp says it will all be worth it as long as he gets his reward from Kyoka. Soon after they go to the Demon Defense Force dorm, Yuki passes through the barrier and prepares to become a prestigious member of the force. Yuki enters with a completely new outlook on life. He is a totally different man now and he confidently stands before the girls awaiting his introduction. The girls just wonder who the nerd is though, and Kyoka just introduces him as the caretaker. She explains that during battle he will be her slave, but at the dorm he is the girl's caretaker. Some of these girls have never even seen a boy before, but Kyoka explains that they are all very skilled fighters. They all have colorful personalities though, so their caretakers don't usually stick around for long. Yuki is the perfect fit though because he is as dull as it gets and he is great at cleaning. Yuki is furious since he thought he was going to be on the Demon Defense Force, but Kyoka explains that men are not allowed to join. She instructs the girls to make him feel at home so they waste no time in telling him to do chores. Yuki can hardly keep up, but NEI is the only nice one among them and tells him that everything will be okay. The others are quick to point out that the little girl has superiority over him, so he better not disobey her. Yuki's dreams of having a meaningful life have been shattered as he goes into a deep depression for having to obey the orders of a child. Things might not be so bad though, as Kyoka kindly welcomes him to the squadron. That brings the episode to an end. Thanks for watching. Want next part? Subscribe the channel and turn on notification bell.